Hello you guys, welcome to Simple Programming channel. I hope this tutorial finds you well. If you come across my channel and find the content useful, subscribe to me if you want, and don't forget to turn the notification button on so that you get updated whenever I upload something new. As the title of the video shows, today's task is to learn how to set inputs. So let's do that. First of all, we create a project. Java with and here. Next, create your project name. Let's call it set input. Don't forget to uncheck this box and hit finish. Our project is created. Now let's go to source packages here, default package, right click, new class, Java class. Give it a name, let's call it input setting and finish. And here is our class. Delete the commands, go inside your class and create the main method, which is the most important method, and without it our program cannot run. We have talked about that in the previous video, so let's create it. Public static void main parentheses string with capital S brackets and args. Opening brace, hit enter, and the closing brace is created automatically. Now before setting any input, let's first get a little bit familiar with variables, how to declare them, how to store values in variables. So for that, let's suppose that we have the following task. We want to calculate the sum of two numbers. So how can we do that in Java? Before writing any code, try to think about the logic, how to solve your programming task. And that makes us think of an algorithm. And an algorithm by definition is a sequence of instructions to solve a problem. So let's see the algorithm of this little exercise. Here is the algorithm. We said that we want to calculate the sum of two numbers. For that, step 1, we need the first number. A number here indicates a variable of type integer. For example, 15. Now, what integer means? Integer is number like 1 to minus 1, minus 2, 100. Every number without a comma. Step 2, we need a second number. And it's a variable, of course. For example, 20. The third step, we calculate the sum. That means 15 and 20 in our case, and store it. And store it in a variable in order to use it if we want. Step 4 is to display or print the result, which is the sum. So how can we do that programmatically? Let's go back to NetBeans and convert these lines into a program, lines of code. If you want to create a variable in Java, you need to create its type. In our case, we want a variable of type integer. And in Java, that's how you declare a variable of type integer or create a variable of type integer. Write int. Int is a shortcut of word integer, and write your variable name. Let's give it num1. Num is from number, of course, and semicolon. I forgot to talk about the semicolon in the previous video. Now make sure, guys, whenever you end your line of code, whenever you end every instruction, use a semicolon, because if you don't use semicolon, NetBeans will give you an error here, as you see. And it says semicolon expected. So always use the semicolon. Now, what does this line of code mean? It simply means allocate a space in the computer memory, because I want to store a value in it. That's what this line of code means. Now we want to store an integer value in our variable num1. So that's how we do it. Write num1 equal 15 semicolon. By doing this, we stored 15 in num1, and this operation is called assignment statement. Assignment statement means to put the value in the variable, or to store it in the variable. That's why this is not equal. This is called the assignment operator. So don't get confused. This is not equal. This is just put the value 15 in the num1 variable. So here is your computer memory where you hover over, and when we created num1 variable, as I said, we allocate a space in this memory, and we can store values inside this space of memory, this one. And that's what we did. We assigned 15, or we stored 15 in this space of memory. Now let's move to step 2, and it is similar to step 1, so let's do it. And let's call it num2 semicolon num2 equal to 20. We give it the value 20. Now we move to step 3, and step 3 consists of summing the two numbers and store them in a variable. We store them in a variable sum, and sum is equal to num1 plus num2. Now here the processor makes the arithmetic operation, and when it gets the result, it stores it in the sum variable. Let's see how it looks like in the memory. Here is your first variable, here is your second variable, and the processor, as I said, makes the arithmetic operation. 15 plus 20 is 35, and it stores it in the sum variable here. Let's move to step 4 now, our last step, and it consists of displaying the result, the sum I mean. And we are familiar with this because we saw that in the previous video, and we know how to print something on the screen. So let's do that. System.out.println parentheses my sum, or the sum is plus sum. Now this is your string, your text, and this is your variable. And the plus operator here doesn't mean plus, but it is nothing but a concatenation operation. And the concatenation means to link our variable here that holds the sum of these two numbers to our text, so that when we print it, we get the sum is 35. That's everything. I forgot a semicolon. Now we are supposed to be done with this code. We save the changes, combination of Ctrl and S, and we run our program. Okay. And here is our output. compile, compilation, okay, run. Now the sum is 35. That's what was expected.